Hey all, welcome to Circular Tone, and today we have a classic ZZ Top. Now, before you start, I know ZZ Top fans, the hardcore guys, you're in two camps. You want to hear either the 80s, legs and all that stuff, or you want to hear the 70s Tres Hombre type of tone. So what I'm going to do is do both and mix them together. Because it's impossible for me to get the gear they got in the 80s because it's very weird, very interesting stuff. So stick to the aftermath of the playing, and I'll spill the beans on what Billy Gibbons and co used on those amazing albums back in the day. So if you like these types of vids, please subscribe. I've had a bunch of subscribers recently, which is fantastic. So the channel is taking off, and if, like I say, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that sub button and give me a like. And here we go. Circular Tone, ZZ Top. Let's go. And we're back. So that was my attempt. I can't play with my fingers, guy. Okay, all right. Of ZZ Top, I think I pulled it off. It's kind of repetitive, but it's the only pattern I could do. But yeah, so what did they use? Let's get to the gear. All right, here's a list of the gear that they used from the two eras of ZZ Top. I'm going to cover both, because if I do one, there'll be complaints about the other, and I would too. If I was really into the Tres Hombres tone, I'd be, if he did legs, I wouldn't be that happy. So, what did they use? Here it is. So crazy, huh? Bet you didn't know it was a solid state amp with ZZ Top. They call it a hybrid because it has a preamp tube in the amp, but that is usually a gimmick when it comes to these things. It's a solid state amp with a preamp tube in the preamp section, which doesn't really mean much. They also used an interesting pedal called the Expandora OD, and there's legend has it, and according to Billy himself, he could use up to 6 of these things in a row. I think that's trolling, and I think I know why. He didn't say that he had them all on, I don't think, but I think I know why. what did I use? I didn't get a Pandora. I got a copy of a Pandora, and it is by JHS, and they're amazing. And the reason that they cracked the code is because inside that old pedal that Billy Gibbons used, there are little dip switches. So you have to take off the back and get into it just to change the tonality of the pedal, because it's got so many tones. JHS put them all on the front, so I could do all the little in-between stuff that he was doing and match it to the original. So that was fantastic, and God, that sounded so good when I was using it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so handy for the studio. Nobody really uses it on anything else, I don't think. Maybe tell me in the comments if you know anybody who uses the expandora stuff, those old pedals. Let me know, because I'd be interested, because I can hear the quality of this, and it's really cool. Great pedal, great company, JHS. I also have the color box of theirs, and that's very cool. Tres Hombres, he used just two things. He used a Plexi, and he used a 1955 Strat. Not much to ask to recreate, right? I mean, who would have a Strat with a hard tail with electronics from the 50s in it, from a Fender that was born in the 50s? Who would have one of those? I do. Yeah. So I used this a little bit, and I used, which is a 50s Fender Music Master, not exactly on the level of a Strat because it's smaller, but it's the same type of deal. His 50s Strat had it didn't have like tail, whammy bar on it or anything. It was a solid tail, and that's very important. And so that was it. So I did the same thing. Who would have, though, from that era, from the late 60s and early 70s, who would have the Plexi? I do. yeah. An old, inside that is all vintage gear. Pretty cool. And I have this, obviously I have the same era speakers too, so it's a circle of tone, we don't mess around. At the end of the day, Tres Hombres was a Strat and a Plexi, and the 80s era was a solid state amp and like the Legend 50 or something it's called, with a Celestion speaker and the Bixonic pedal in front of it. And he uses the reason why the first era, the earlier era, is sounds so different is because he said that he used all of the areas of the selector. And I was laughing because he said that people don't know the struggle of the 50s Strats, because I think they were three-way. So you had to kind of put it in between and hope it didn't like snap back. So he's like a lost art of trying to get that in-between sound with a three-way switch. That's what they used to do. So that's interesting stuff. The microphone is very important as well. This is what tripped me up, because I've been trying to do this for ages. Using SM57s, dynamic mics, ribbon mics, it wasn't. This is the microphone that they used, and I would never have chosen this. And I trip up all the time because I make presumptions. These microphones do not, the condenser microphones don't sound good in front of speakers usually in rock. It's usually the dynamic speakers, but there it is. They used this microphone, and I matched it as good as I could with the equivalent that I have. So that's it. Very interesting stuff. And but the thing that resonated with me when I was researching this was something that I touched on my modern metal sucks video, where I claimed that everybody was a one-man band, right? One guy controlling everything and then getting in hired guns. On the first jam session that ZZ Top ever had, Billy was saying that they turned up, they played for hours, 5 hours, then they went to eat, then they came back and played, then they went to bed, then they got up and played. They just gel straight away, and they play. Nobody has played more gigs than ZZ Top. I guarantee it. Back in the day, unbelievable amount of gigs. It's that thing, playing. You got to play together in the room to get the greatness, and then maybe we'll get more classics from like Well Dressed Man and things like that. It's because they are so ridiculously tight. And there's also a couple of cheats as well, which makes you think about the production aspect of it. The producer, Legs and that era, he actually played the drums on it. So not many people know that. So, you know, it was half drums and half synthetic drums, you know, drum machines. And the stuff the producer did to get that album together, it's unbelievable, including like bouncing from one console to another. You know, he ended up, they weren't getting it right on the, you know, the big fancy console in the studio, so they had to take it. He had a 24-track studio in his house, and they took it there, and he had to punch in all the licks. He had to punch them in as if Billy was playing. So Billy had already recorded these licks, okay, the solos and everything. So he completely re-recorded the Legs. He completely re-recorded it himself, and then he bounced Billy Gibbons' solos to it by pressing play and hitting record on his console. Right? Producers, the fifth man, the fifth Beatle. So that was super interesting to me. And he actually said that it resulted in a little phasey thing, but the phase thing sounded so good they kept it. So awesome stuff. And it was a lot of fun researching this one, and to hear it come together was such a relief, because I know people are very picky about this one, and I think it's one of my better ones that I've done. So, and remember, you might have a romantic ideal of what tone sounds like in your head, and then when you hear me play, it's like it doesn't sound as huge as it can on the radio. But just listen back, and then you'll see it's not quite as big and massive as you think it is. It's kind of tight and punchy. So, and obviously, ZZ Top. Songwriting. That's what it's all about. Songwriting, playing in a band, getting tight, writing together, and let's get out of this bedroom mentality of writing songs. Maybe we'll get somewhere, and we'll have some rock music in the Grammys for a change. There wasn't a single guitar solo in any of the Grammys nominated for top song. Not one guitar solo of all those artists. How many nominees were there? We've got to turn this around, guys. You guys have been awesome. You're trickling in. My subscriptions have been going up. Fantastic. Good times. Have a good one. You've been awesome. It's been Owen. Circle of Tone.